Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Community Focus here on Channel 6 TV. I'm Kenny Fogle, your host tonight. We got Mr. Ed Schickel here with us. And Ed's been with us, I guess about 3 or 4 years now, because this is the 4th annual Hearing Loss Association of America. We'll have a little fair coming up here, and I'll let Ed explain a little bit about that. Ed, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
This is something that I guess everybody at some point, if you live long enough or you just at some point, I know I can't hear as well as I could years ago. My wife says it's because I don't want to, but I don't think it's necessarily the case. I think we all have a loss of hearing at some point, some earlier than others.
Well, the reality is adults over 60, it's almost 50% of them will have some degree of hearing loss.
Yeah.
The flip-flop of it is between the ages of 15 and 20, we have almost 20% hearing loss. The National Census Bureau takes a general population of about 10%.
Well, I understand the 60 and over, but the 15 to 20, is that man-made, or is that coming from artificial sources? What's causing that?
From what we can understand, and most of it is just a guess, it's the headphones, the earphones, driving along and you hear that booming from a car next to you. Sometimes I want to just hand them one of our brochures and say, join us now or later.
You'll be here 10 years from now, you'll be joining us.
But the hearing loss issues are really becoming in the forefront. Europe has said a 20% figure for the general population for probably 15, 20 years. The United States have been much more conservative, but we're coming back with the idea that it's a higher number than we've ever imagined.
Well, I know at first we'll get into this hearing loss, the hearing failure you're getting, and that's mainly for people that's already got the problem. I mean, is there any movement underway to? I guess you really can't educate people because you have to pretty much learn on your own, especially the younger generation. We all made mistakes and make mistakes, so it's kind of hard to tell them when they're 10 years old, don't do this because you'll hurt your hearing.
Well, actually, part of the hearing fair will be doing hearing screenings. That's different than a hearing test. Yeah. A hearing screening is like a 5-tone test and says, okay, you're having trouble with these 5 tones, you're probably developing a problem, need to get it checked out. And, a lot of children in school have hearing issues and people don't know about it. I can look back as far as the 1st grade, I had a hearing problem and I didn't start wearing hearing aids and really didn't have a hearing test until I was in my 40s. But I can see signs of it back much, much earlier. On our website, My Story, I keep commenting that my brothers kept saying, are you deaf in one ear and can't hear all the other? Well, yeah, I was. I just didn't know it.
Well, it's got to affect your school. I mean, probably people labeled you a little slow in learning, probably, maybe, to some degree.
Well, I developed, right off the bat, never figured out why, but I developed a lot of coping mechanisms. I'd sit up near the front. Never wanted to sit in the front seat because that's a bad seat. But 2nd or 3rd seat put me close enough that I could speech read, and I didn't know of a speech reading. When I was going into my counseling, doing some of my counseling trainings, we had a program. It was in Washington, D.C., and each of us had to do, a role play of something. And when it's my turn, I sat down, I pulled my seat up closer, and I was leaning forward. And the instructor commented on what they call the client attentiveness and type of thing. I didn't know it. All I was really doing is I wanted to hear. And I knew I was having trouble. It's in a big auditorium type thing. And I knew I was having trouble hearing in that space, and I needed to be able to hear. And so it's a survival thing that, we do this a lot. We bluff a lot. We do a lot of little tricks that we learn and don't realize that's what we're doing.
So kids really need to be tested at an early age because, I know there's a lot of parents probably say, my kid's just not learning right or they've got a learning disability or something. It may not be that at all. They may just can't hear what's going on.
Yeah, it's amazing. In our schools, we really push getting the vision checked.
Yeah, right. Eye test all the time.
Eye test all the time. But we never think about doing the hearing test. And the hearing tests are very, very important. we get kids acting out in the classroom, and a lot of times they're acting out because they can't hear and they're bored. And, just different things like that affect the learning process so much. So, yes, the person can get a screening. Okay, my son has a little bit of hearing problem. Let's get a full test. Let's find out what's going on. For our adults within this program, it's a pretty broad area. We're even going to have Bardstown Fire Department's going to be there with smoke alarms. They have a grant through the Red Cross. Have smoke alarms and a bed shaker for hard of hearing people. Now, it's kind of funny, but if I take my hearing aid out and my cochlear implant off, I won't hear the smoke alarm. And I didn't know that for years. My classic joke is my wife was with her mother, and I got home late, pulled my hearing aids off, and had the TV wide open. And I could hear something, couldn't figure out what it was. I turned the TV down. Finally, I shut the TV off and started wandering around the house. Got past our answering machine. My wife was on the answering machine. Pick up the phone, pick up the phone. And I thought, oh, something's happened to her mother. What's wrong, what's wrong? And she said, the burglar alarm's going off. And I said, no, it's not. She said, yes, it is. I can hear it through the phone. And we go through those stages, and we really don't know that was a problem.
So hearing loss is not just annoying, it could be life-threatening.
It can be very life-threatening. If you think about it, you'll hear especially older people dying in a fire. And they said, well, there's a good smoke alarm. Why did they die? They didn't hear it. Yeah. They really didn't hear it. Or they didn't hear it in time. Sometimes I can hear things if it repeats, for a longer period of time. Okay, what is that type of a deal? So, yes, the hearing loss affects a lot of people. We don't know it. We do have some manly selective hearing, but then sometimes what selective hearing is just that we hear certain tones, we hear certain things at certain decibel levels, but we don't hear them at a different decibel level. Or we hear something at a certain frequency, but not at another. Like the piano keyboard, I don't hear all the piano keyboard. I'll hear certain keys, but not all of them. And so a voice or words are in those frequencies, and I'll miss that syllable. Okay. Or if we're in a restaurant, I'll pick up a syllable from this guy, a syllable from this guy, and something from you. And so now I've got gobbledygook, and that's hard. But what
are we going to do about this?
Pardon?
What can we do about it? Obviously we've identified the problem. What's this hearing fair going to do to help people?
Well, one, it gets us starting with information. It gets us starting with knowledge. We'll have audiologists there. We'll have an instrument specialist there. We'll be doing screening. We actually have advanced bionics, cochlear implant people will be there. We'll be talking one-on-one. What are you experiencing? What's going on? How are things affecting you? And then give you the information, give you access. Maybe you are wearing a hearing aid and you're not happy with it. Well, this is the time to talk it over. Sometimes when we're in a doctor's office or an audiologist's office, it's pressured, or it feels pressure, even if it's not there, we feel pressured, and we don't ask the questions. Yeah. Or we don't hear all the things we need to hear. So by talking one-on-one in a non-pressured atmosphere, we're able to pick things up. A lot of people say, well, hearing aids are expensive. And they are. They're very, very expensive. But the SHARP program, you can get a set of an individual hearing aid for as low as $250. Depending on your income, or you get a new one depending on your income for $250. You can get a rebuilt one if your income is above the level that they are using. So it's something that people don't know about. Learning about the different insurance companies. So more and more we're finding insurance companies are offering hearing assistive devices. Even telephones. I don't know if you have trouble hearing on the telephone or your cell phone.
I blame it on the cell phone, to be honest with you, but it's probably me.
Okay. Well, this is a device right here. It's a hearing assistive device. It's Bluetooth to my cell phone, and it will go to both ears. Now, if I pick up my cell phone without it and just listen with one ear, I can't understand. But with both ears, I can understand. You know, it's really amazing. This is an assistive device. There are other devices like this, but this one can Bluetooth to anything, to the stereo, to the car, you know, to the computer, whatever. Anything that has a Bluetooth, this can Bluetooth to it.
That's amazing.
So that becomes a device that works. Now, when we talk about hearing loss, and we think of it, you know, hearing aids, you know, a person thinks, I'm going to get 20/20 hearing again. Well, first of all, there's not 20/20 hearing, but a hearing aid is an aid. It helps us, but it doesn't help in all circumstances, in all situations. That's when other devices work with my hearing aids and help me in like in a noisy environments or a particular situation. So learning about these things, we'll have what we call a HAT booth, Hearing Assistive Technology, HAT. And we'll have different aids, whether it be a smoke alarm with a bed shaker, or I actually have a bed shaker strobe light that's attached to my doorbell, my telephone, my smoke alarm, and my alarm clock. So that, because I don't hear those sounds without them. And even with my hearing aids, I don't always hear them. So the financing of the hearing aids is important. We also have a couple programs for free telephones. I use a caption telephone. So I'm reading what you're saying to me at the same time I'm talking to you. Similar to TV captioning, 2 to 3 seconds behind the voice. And I actually use that. Other types of phones would be specialized amplified phones. Amplified phones, your typical amplified phone that you get at Walmart or someplace at 15, 20 decibels. These amplified phones are 45, 50 decibels so that a person can hear it, and then they can adjust the tone as well. So they'll be talking about each of these things that are available for people that people really don't know about. I mentioned to somebody else that about like Nelson County, Washington County, Lebanon, Marion counties, the hidden treasures. You know, things that are actually present in our communities that we really don't know are there. They exist.
Or we take for granted.
We take for granted. Like HLAA, Hearing Loss Association of America, is a hidden treasure. Our website, you know, hearinglosskYhome.org, is a hidden treasure. We have over 1,000 people a month coming to our website from all over the world, learning about hearing loss issues. And that's the key thing, is that, you know, sometimes when we go to an audiologist or when we go to a doctor, we reach in our pocket and hand them our wallet and say, "Don't hurt me." And that's the way people buy hearing aids. They really don't do the research or the homework that we need to know, so I know what I need in a hearing aid. They go by what's cheap and very often what's the smallest, so because I don't want people to know I have a hearing problem. That's
yeah. Well, like I said, that's something we need to solve that problem. If somebody out there's got a hearing issue or think you have a hearing issue, this might be a good place, because open up the world again. There's no sense in going on without it. May the 22nd, I believe it is, Monday night, May 22nd, 6:30 in the evening, Nelson County Library. That's when this fair is going to be, and it seems like it's been successful, been growing. I know you say earlier we talked, and you said it was just something you were going to do one time. Now it's been every year, been growing a little bit every year.
It has been growing every year. We've averaged between 65 and 100 people. If you think of a hearing fair, you know, a lot of people, what's that? Think of a health fair. You know, have you ever been to a health fair? You got an idea what it is, except everything at our program will be devoted to some aspect of hearing.
And it's all free.
It's free.
That's free. May the 22nd, that's at the Nelson County Public Library, Monday night, 6:30 p.m. on May 22nd. So write that down. If you can't hear me, at least write it down, and then we're going to get you fixed. He's going to find out and what is custom to you. You got experts there that's going through the same thing you're going through. So again, it's great that you're having this and you're growing. People are starting, but the stigma is not as bad as it used to be. I mean, you see more hearing aids now than you used to. People are starting to realize it may be more of a fashion statement than it is a detriment anymore.
Yeah, that's true. We still have, well, actually, about 20% of the people who need hearing aids never get them.
Yeah.
for whatever reason. But more and more people are looking to it because it's a case of I need to hear, I want to hear.
Well, if they can't make it, we got a phone number. We've got the phone number, 502-233-5774. And that's the number you need to call. If you can't make it that night, obviously you can give them a call. They've got you say you got a website?
We have a website. It's www.hearinglosskYhome.org.
All right. Well, there's all kinds of ways to find out, but try to make the hearing fair if you can. Not give them a call. Again, it's Nelson County Library, 6:30 p.m. Monday night, May 22nd. Ed, thank you for being here. This is wonderful that you're doing this.
Well, thank you.
I know you've gone through this for your life, and to share this with others and try to help others is wonderful. So we appreciate you doing it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Well, stick around. A lot more to come here on Community Focus. We'll have more on your Channel 6 hometown TV station right after this.